Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. This is Soul Purpose Activation here on YouTube. And we are back with another future spouse reading. I love these readings. However, you guys, this particular reading is going to be a little bit different, okay? A lot of the times when readers, myself included, we do future spouse readings, we tend to only really tap into the more fluffier parts of the readings, the feel-good parts, right? And we all know that in relationships, that's not how relationships always go. So this is a more realistic reading. We're gonna find out exactly what kinds of struggles and obstacles you and your future spouse may have to face, the things you may have to work through as a couple. So that at least you have the heads up, okay? So keep in mind, you guys, these are issues that are currently in your energy. So that means that these are the kinds of dynamics that you are in the process of manifesting. So if you haven't done any healing work, if you haven't let go of things from the past, relationships are the greatest mirrors. They reflect back to us what needs to be healed within ourselves, okay? So if you're carrying around emotional baggage, trauma, things like that you haven't processed and healed from, you haven't done the shadow work, those dynamics are going to continue to play out in your relationships, more notably in your romantic relationships. So if there is something in this reading that you're like, hell no, hell to the no, right? If there's something in this reading that absolutely just rubs you the wrong way, take that as kind of like a hallmark of what needs to be healed within yourself so that that dynamic isn't going to be manifesting within your relationship with your spouse. And it could just be something too, you guys, you know, learning how to release, letting go of wanting control, you know, wanting things to be a certain way, learning how to hold space for another so that they can show up authentically, however that may be, okay? A lot of the times the things that need to be healed within us is just the need and the want to control someone else, to control our environment and things like that. If you don't know how to do that kind of work, how to heal trauma, how to process emotion, how to, you know, get more in touch with your inner feminine, inner masculine energies, whichever one you feel you're more dominant in, linked below in the description box is my other channel. It's called Your Wish Fulfilled. I teach how to do that, okay? So just go check it out. We're going to get right into your guys' readings. So these are the three piles that you have to pick from. So pile one is going to be the Lepidolite heart. Okay, Lepidolite. Is she a beauty? Pile number two is the Bumblebee Jasper. And then pile number three is blue Onyx. The blue Onyx, also known as Caribbean calcite. Okay. All right, you guys, just take a minute, pause the video if you need to, pick whichever one you feel more drawn to, and I'll see you guys at your reading. Pile one, welcome. If you guys have not, first of all, if you haven't had the chance to check out the introduction, please do so. It is very important. It is a part of this reading, okay? I don't normally do introductions in my videos. Only maybe a couple of videos that I've done in this entire channel. I only do intros when it's included as part of the reading. Make sure you go to the timestamp for the introduction, okay? Very important. It is part of this reading. All right, so you guys chose the Lepidolite heart. Lepidolite, you guys, is for those of you who may need a little bit of help with calming and easing anxiety. Okay, worries, maybe staying up all night. The Nine of Swords comes to mind. So one or both of you and your future spouse may have issues with maybe depression or, you know, I'm hearing panic attacks, anxiety, maybe possibly insomnia, okay? Lepidolite is a wonderful stone to kind of help with things like that, okay? Lepidolite actually has lithium in it. Now, you don't want to lick it or ingest it, but it's just that calming Lepidolite and howlite together actually are two really great combinations if, you know, those issues are something that you may be currently dealing with. But the fact that you were drawn to Lepidolite for this specific reading may be an indication as to something that you and your future spouse may have to overcome or deal with, or something like that. Okay, we're going to get right into your reading. Let's see. And we're going to hit this from both sides. So we're going to find out what it is about your future spouse that may rub you the wrong way, and then what it is about you that may rub your future spouse the wrong way. We're going to get some clues into some of the things that you may need to work on, okay, as a couple together. All right, let's see. Pile 1. What about pile 1 may rub their future spouse the wrong way? Pile 1. Oh, we got divinity. Okay. What about pile 1's future spouse? Will pile 1 might rub pile 1 the wrong way? Interesting. Okay, so right off the bat, pile 1, your future spouse, when it comes to you, it's not necessarily anything that you do or that you say. You're going to be acting as a mirror for your future spouse. And so something about your dynamic is really going to amplify things about your future spouse that they don't actually like about themselves, but they may have a tendency to project. Okay, so your future spouse may actually be somebody who tends to dream a lot. They may get frustrated by their goals. Your future spouse may, pile 1 may be somebody that may have a lot of things kind of going on at the same time, but they may tend to leave things unfinished. And they may tend to have all these big dreams and all these big goals, but they may not really quite have the ability or maybe the energy or the resources to really fulfill them. I'm hearing they're all talk and no action. A lot of talk and very little action, or very little follow through. Okay, so of course we're going to be delving more into these messages to get more of an idea of the things that the two of you, you know, will have to work through together as a couple. All right, pile 1's future spouse. Let's clarify, divinity, recognize the divine in the mirror. What is it about pile 1 that is going to rub their future spouse the wrong way? About pile 1. Let's get one more. Okay. What is it about pile 1 that rubs their future spouse the wrong way? What is it about pile 1 that rubs their future spouse the wrong way? Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of mirroring here going on. Whoa. Here, we're going to move this over here. Okay. Okay, so you may remind them, pile 1, about all the dreams and the hopes and that they had for the future, but they weren't ever quite able to achieve for whatever reason. Dreams lost, shattered dreams, things like that. You may be somebody who was very on purpose and on point, like, you know, you had a plan and you executed it. Maybe you're somebody who, you know, you planned on going to school and getting a degree and you did that. Or you planned on building a business and making it to a certain point in that business and you did that. Maybe by a certain age you decided you were going to, you know, buy a house or, you know, you had a plan, you had dreams, and it seems like you are the person, and this may be a jealousy issue too with your future spouse. They may be very envious of what you were able to achieve in your life versus what they were not. I'm also hearing for some of you, they're gonna feel, for whatever reason, like you had it so easy growing up. Okay, again, you guys, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But there's something about there's going to be a lot with your future spouse where they're feeling like you had it so easy. I don't know if maybe you grew up in a 2-parent household, or if your parents paid for your college, or, you know, if you just have a lot of support, you know, either financial or emotional support, or some kind of support coming from your social circle, your family included, that your future spouse may not have had. Whatever the case may be, pile one, I do feel this energy of jealousy and envy coming from your future spouse about how easy you had to have had it to be able to here's an example, okay, and it's just an example. I remember when, and it's story time, you guys. Before my awakening, and before I was, you know, I fully was able to take control and have full awareness of my own role in creating my reality, I used to work with this woman who was younger than me by quite a few years. But we were both in the same boat in terms of, you know, she had a couple of kids, she had been married once, and, you know, I had one kid at that point. I was getting ready to get married, but this girl had a lot, her parents were able to, they were her safety net financially. We'll just put it that way, right? In other words, like when her car would need repair, or when her car ended up actually, when she needed to end up replacing her car because, you know, it just went kaput, her parents were able to step in and help her financially get a new car, you know. And at this point in time, when all this was happening, the car that I was driving, I think it was close to about 16 years old. And yeah, both of my parents were and are still alive, but neither one of them had the financial capability to, they could barely afford their own lives, let alone anything extra for me. So I was dealing with this kind of jealous and envious energy towards her, like, God, you know, she's got it so easy. You know, she's got more kids than I do. You know, she's living with someone else. So she herself had a 2-income household, but then her parents were still able. So she had all this financial, you know, she had this financial safety net that I never had. Right? And so I was very envious and jealous of that. I'm being honest. Okay. And it was later on that I realized, I'm like, oh, you know, I was able to flip it around and see things in a different way. And actually, you know, when push came to shove, when I needed to get a new car, I was able to, you know, by my own accord, buy the exact kind of car that I wanted, brand new, right off the lot. And so, you know, when I was able to flip the script on that and not, you know, turn that jealousy and envy into something more of like, you know, oh, that's awesome for her, she's got that support, she's got that backing, you know, good for her kind of thing. Instead, and jump out of that jealousy and envy, I was able to, you know, manifest exactly what I wanted, right? But that's where that jealousy and envy, that's kind of where your future spouse, that's where they're going to be. You know, they're going to think that you have it so easy compared to them. Maybe they feel like you're privileged compared to them. This is just how they're feeling. It doesn't make it true, okay? Like I said, it could very well be projecting, but you remind them of all the dreams that they had, everything that they didn't have that they wish they could have had. Okay, so there's kind of a sore spot there. It's neat that we have this, I mean, even though the energy is in reverse, because here's divinity for you coming through with the crown chakra. And what is that? Blue lace agate. With divinity, recognize the divine in the mirror. What your future spouse is failing to see is that you are doing, you know, everything that you have in your life, including financial support from those around you, if you actually do have that. you manifested and you created that in your life yourself in some way, shape, or form, whether it's good karma that you carried over from past lives or you actually intentionally manifested that. Who knows, right? But you know, you're kind of in this space where you are aware of who and what you truly are. And who and what you truly are is somebody beyond and above and beyond whatever your name is, whatever your personality is, right? Like, you know you're a divine being. You know you're the creator of your reality. Your future spouse is not yet awakened to that fact about themselves, and so they look at everything that they don't have, everything that they wish they had, and when they see other people experiencing the things that they wish that they could but they can't, they kind of get into this victim mentality, right? Very lack of victim mentality is where is one of the things that you and your future spouse are gonna have to, you know, work through. Okay, I'm picking up a very doomsday kind of catastrophic, like, thinking type of energy from your future spouse. Not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, not being able to see things in a more optimistic light. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's definitely going to have to be one of the things that I'm also hearing here with the High Priestess in reverse. They look at you as someone that just seems to be in the right place at the right time. Like the universe is just... You know, the universe is, oh, look, the universe is like Big Papa to you. Like, the universe is just giving you everything that you want. And they're not realizing that they can have the same thing if they will just align their energies more. They're in this doomsday thinking, this catastrophic thinking where everything is just, you know, it's everything to them is just a catastrophe, right? Yeah. Very difficult for them to see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're going to look, like I said, I think the biggest thing for them is just going to feel like you had it so easy. Pile one has it so easy, and or pile one, you know, had it so easy. That's why they're able to, you know, experience everything that they're experiencing right now. All right, we're going to move on to them and see what it is about them that ruffles your feathers. We're going to get more into that. What about pile one's future spouse is going to ruffle pile one's feathers? Tell me more about dreams. Yeah, see, the Emperor in reverse is now coming up in the reverse energy. Look at that. Yeah. So this is kind of the flip side to what, you know, so they see you as, you know, you had everything so easy. They may feel like, you know, you just had everything handed to you. You know exactly what you had to do to get to where you were going. Some of you may have had, you know, the privilege of having, you know, a two-parent household, you know, two loving parents that remain married, you know. Even if you didn't, there's still this energy where, you know, even if you didn't have the best childhood, there was still this, at the very least, mental and emotional support of you achieving your dreams. Some of you were very fortunate, though, to have parents who, you know, did help you, you know, get through school, get through college, even if it was just to give you a place to live. You know, while you went to college, maybe you paid for your own college, but your parents let you live with them, you know, maybe rent-free, bill-free, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, I would love to be able to do that for my kids. Absolutely. You know, and then you've got the flip side of people that weren't able to experience that, you know, and rather than put it in its proper place, they're more jealous and envious and stuff like that, especially if they weren't able to finish school or whatever, right? So the flip side of that is you're looking at your person like, you know, why don't you ever finish what you start? You know, it's like, you love the fact that your future spouse has this visionary mindset. They love to dream big. They love to set big goals, but it's like they self-sabotage a lot. That's what it is. You see them self-sabotaging quite a bit. And the thing about you guys, pile one, you can see your future spouse for who they truly are. You can see them be in this Emperor and Nine of Pentacles energy in the upright position, and you can see where I'm hearing stinking thinking. Stinking thinking. You can see where they're self-sabotaging. You can definitely see where they're self-sabotaging, and you want to help them, right? It's very difficult when you're dealing with somebody that's in a victim mindset to get out of that. All right, let's get one last card for pile, how pile one's future spouse might ruffle their feathers. Explain dreams here. Explain dreams here. Oh, no. I feel they're very messy, too. Yeah. They're always stuck in planning mode. We got the Two of Wands here in the upright position, so they're always in planning mode. Your future spouse has kind of given me the energy of somebody who they love making goals, goal lists and to-do lists, but they never really quite achieve anything. You know, they love going to workshops about, you know, reaching the next level or something like that. They love that. They love the learning. They love learning new things and new techniques and new skills and stuff like that. But it never really gets past the Two of Wands energy. They're always almost in planning and a research mode. Right? And so what is really going to ruffle your feathers about your future spouse, pile one, is seeing how they have this enormous potential to be this emperor, right? But then they self-sabotage it. And honestly, here with this both of these actually, the Emperor in reverse and the Nine of Pentacles, there may be something subconscious in your future spouse where they're actually afraid of doing everything on their own, being the one solely responsible for their own financial well-being. Like I said, there's a lot of self-sabotage here. Consciously, they want it, right? Consciously, they want to be able to be the CEO or be the entrepreneur. I really am picking up entrepreneur energy from your future spouse. I feel they want to work for themselves. They don't, they want to set their own hours, set their own schedule, but there's this energy here where they self-sabotage quite a bit. They don't show up for themselves the way that they're supposed to, meaning they don't also show up for their business or their goals. They don't show up for their life in the way that they want to, and this really rubs you the wrong way. What I'm hearing from you, it's like you want them to grow up. And they've really been resisting that for some reason. They never quite get out of planning mode. It's self-sabotage, honestly, is what it is. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to get some advice for you guys. What advice do we have for pile one? I'll get advice for you guys, and then I'll about, them, and then advice for you as well. What advice do you have for pile one in dealing with their future spouses? Nuances, I guess, is what we call it. What advice do you have for pile one? This is really weird. And the reason why it's weird is because the energy that I'm picking up on and the messages that I'm receiving isn't inherently in these cards. Something about living by example, though. Your future spouse isn't going to get anything from you in terms of talking and giving them advice. They're going to learn more from you through you just living by example. For you, pile one, your advice when it comes to dealing with these nuances with your future spouse is basically just your lesson in all of this, pile one, is learning how to love the shadow parts of people. Learning how to love the shit out of somebody even when they're self-sabotaging. Learning how to love the crap out of somebody even when they're complaining and you can see that they're the reason why they're not, you know what I mean? It's like learning how to love even the unlovable parts of people. That's your lesson in this whole thing. Because there's going to be instances, you know, before you guys are able to work through these issues where you're going to want to escape. You may even want to escape the actual marriage and the relationship yourself, but it's almost like you're going to, there may be this dynamic in your relationship with your future spouse, pile one, where it's almost like you need to like go on vacation away from your future spouse just to get away from their negative thinking, right? But the guidance that's coming through to you, yes, if escaping temporarily, like going on vacations and mini getaways and stuff, you know, apart from your future spouse, maybe with, you know, your friends or a family getaway, like, you know, your parents and stuff like that, leaving your future spouse behind, if that's part of self-care, absolutely do it. But don't ever stop. You know, your lesson in this is to learn how to love them even though they're sabotaging. That's part of living an example, because something's going to click at some point with your future spouse where they are going to become self-aware, because like I said, you are acting as a mirror to them. They're going to be able to look at you and be like, wow, you're loving me even though you know, I've been this self-sabotaging, jealous, envious person. Something clicks within them where the self-awareness comes in and they stop projecting blame and they turn that focus and that mirror back on themselves. And just know that they're reacting out of this shadow, right? They haven't had the awakening yet. They still need to go through whatever it is they need to go through in order to realize, like, oh, I'm the common denominator. I'm the problem here. You know, it's not, you know, pile one's not the problem. My parents aren't the problem. You know, these people, you know, whoever they think, they're going to start recognizing there's a pattern, because I have a feeling, pile one, you're not the first person that they've had this dynamic with. They're going to realize, like, why do I keep coming across these same kinds of people? Like, for instance, you know, that girl that that coworker I told you guys about, she wasn't the first person with those circumstances that I had come across in my working, you know what I mean? And so after a while, I'm like, why do I keep coming across these same, you know, same people with, you know, where they had this support and this help that I didn't have. I'm like, okay, something is trying to show me something here. And when I opened myself up to the possibility that the universe or God or the source or whatever was trying to show me something, was when I received the answer. And that the answer was what helped me to completely rework and reframe what I was seeing. It helped me change my mindset. And after that, things just clicked. You know, no, my parents never got to a point where they were able to, you know, be that safety net for me. But I was like, I have a safety net. It's called the universe. It's called me. You know what I mean? And that's when things started to turn around. So, you know, just Make sure you're loving the crap out of them no matter what, because they're going to get it. They're going to start to realize there's a pattern here. What is God, or what is the universe? What is it I'm supposed to see here? Okay? You're their ultimate mirror. All right, let's go over here for you guys. All right, what do we have for? Okay, we got owl, abundance, and yeah. So for them, it's going to be mostly just kind of understanding how tricky their own mind has been when it comes to the advice. Like if your future spouse was watching, this is the advice that I'd give them about, and I basically just talked about that right now. That is so funny. The advice I would give them about how to deal with whatever is ruffling their feathers about you. And it would be all about, you know, their mental diet and how it's their mind that is causing, you know, their negative thinking, that is causing a lot of their pain. I don't want to say pain, the friction and the conflict. Like, if they were able to switch their perception, they could actually see you for who you really are. Like, see, they're seeing this abundance here as if it's all yours. And because you have it, they can't have it. And what they need to understand is that abundance is infinite. The energy of abundance is infinite. It's infinite. And if they would change their mind about abundance being, what do they call that? Being finite, and switch their thinking to infinite. Abundance is infinite. There's an infinite supply of it. Just because, you know, pile one has all this abundance doesn't mean that it's taking away. They got the scarcity mindset, scarcity and or poverty mindset. You know, and of course with this owl over here, it literally says deep shadow work. They need to change their mind. Basically, it's like they need to change their mind and their perception about how they're viewing you and the blessings, and what you were able to create for yourself and manifest for yourself in this lifetime. They need to change their mind about that and look at it in a different way. Okay? Which is letting me know, like I said, they're going to catch on to a pattern playing out in their life where it's going to make something click. Okay? It is going to make something click. And in the meantime, you know, for you guys, it's one of those things where just hold space for this person and their shadow. Okay? The lesson for you is you're building that muscle to be able to do that, right? Understanding and also having the faith that this person is also on an evolutionary trail to maybe spiritual awakening, or at the very least self-awareness, right? To where they're going to be able to realize, oh, okay, this is why, you know, this is what has been stopping me or blocking me from being able to manifest my, you know, abundance in my own life and in my own experience. Okay. All right, pile one, I'm going to leave that there. I hope that it resonated. If it did, do me a favor, make sure you're smashing that like button for me. Also, comment below, let me know what pile that you picked. Share and subscribe if you feel led to do so. I will see you guys in your next reading. Hello, pile two. All right, you guys, I'm not going to go through the whole intro. Actually, I filmed the intro for you. If you have not watched it, please go back and watch the intro. It's time-stamped, okay? It is part of this reading. Very important. It's part of this reading, and it's going to help you process what we're about to tap into here, okay? So you guys just keep in mind, this is a general reading. It's not going to resonate with everybody. Take what resonates, leave behind anything that doesn't. If you want to book a private reading with me where I'm tapping into you and your future spouse's connection exclusively, just check the description box below for booking details, okay? We're going to tap right into it, you guys. You guys picked the Bumblebee Jasper. And Bumblebee Jasper always reminds me of solar plexus energy, which, and it connects me instantly to Leo energy, okay? So having said that, with the kind of reading that we're getting ready to do, someone might be jealous. We'll get into this energy of the attention that the other person gets, whether this is your energy or their energy. We're going to tap into it, okay? I feel like someone in this connection is, or both of you could actually be powerhouses, but one of you may be kind of showing up in an energy that is not quite as evolved. Like there may be some insecurity there about the interests or the attention that the other person gets. I'm picking up on some jealousy of attention that someone gets. We're going to get more into it, okay? We're going to get more into it. So let's pop that there. All right, so we're going to do two separate columns here. I'm going to get the energy of what about your future spouse, pile 2, ruffles your feathers. And then I'm going to get what is it about you, pile 2, that ruffles your future spouse's feathers, okay? This is just going to give us an idea of the things that the two of you will have to work on together as a couple, okay? Again, you guys, please check the intro. All right, it is part of this reading, all right? I just didn't want to film the intro 3 separate times. All right, you guys, what is it about pile 2 that ruffles your future spouses? All right, there's the sacral chakra. All right, what is it about pile 2's future spouse that ruffles pile 2's feathers? What is it that ruffles pile 2's feathers about their future spouse? There's a couple of things for them. Okay. Let's see, we got oneness and strength. So it says you are part of the universe and will always be. That strength comes from your connections to the root of your being. Okay, so on your side, what ruffles their feathers about you is how easy it is for you to manifest your dream life. This is actually really kind of funny because I'm seeing this on both sides. I'm seeing elements of this on both sides. With them, what ruffles your feathers about them pretty much is almost the same thing. Here we got oneness with you are part of the universe. Like it seems for you, pile 2, what ruffles your feathers about them, it seems like they have more favor with God or source or the universe than you do. Or there's something about something like their ability to, it really is the same. It feels the same. Like both of y'all seem to have this energy towards the other one where something that you want, maybe it is for instance, I'll just put it this way. I'm going to give you guys an example. Maybe you feel like it's like maybe something that you wish you could be is more like a social butterfly, or maybe you feel like you want to be the one where you walk into, a room and heads turn. It's like, I want to be this magnetic, charismatic, attention commanding person with influence. Yeah. So there may be a lot of mirroring going on in this connection between you and your future spouse. I'm picking up on some competitiveness too. There's some competitiveness between the two of you. And that's probably one of the main issues with you guys as a couple, rather than wanting to work together. There's this thing about wanting to be number one individually and feeling like you have to compete with the other person, okay? Yeah, that's coming through. All right, let's see. For pile 2, let's clarify what is ruffling their future spouse's energy. What is ruffling pile 2's future spouse's feathers about pile 2? What's ruffling their feathers about you? What is it about you, pile 2, that is ruffling their feathers? Let's clarify this here. I'm going to go ahead and pull their energy here too, just so I don't, you know, just in case I don't have to repeat messages here, because the two of you I do feel are mirroring each other quite a bit, and so this feels almost like a combined reading. Like pile 1 was very different in what ruffled their feathers. I will say here, there's more of a romantic, like what ruffles your future spouse's feathers about you is the amount of romantic interest that you get. All right, let's get their energy. We'll see. That's all I'm going to see on that until I get their energy out. What is it about future spouse that ruffles pile 2's feathers? Yeah, okay. I knew it. I knew it. I knew there was a lot of, and it's funny that we have Leo energy coming up over here. You know, we got sacral chakra, so it's all this fire energy coming out, which I was picking up on that Leo fire energy. So something about the attention that you guys get ruffles each other's feathers, maybe for different reasons. What is it about them that ruffles your feathers? Let's clarify this energy here. What is it about them that ruffles your feathers? I will say there is one of the things that you guys are going to have to learn is how to work together as a team rather than against each other. Yeah, together as a unit. And not to compete with each other or feel like you have to compete with each other for something. Oh, man. We do have the star wanting to come out. Your person, your future spouse may be well known. Well known in the community, well known in whatever industry that they may be working in. They may be naturally gifted in areas that you feel like you have to work super hard in, pile 2. And I feel there's elements of that on both sides. Yeah, with them. There is. There's elements of this on both sides. It's just you envy each other for different reasons. Although I feel like your power is the same. We got the Sun here. We got the Magician showing up in reverse. You know, and not to take some of this, again, you guys, please go back and listen to the intro. But I will say that, you know, this is just kind of letting you guys know. It could be just exposing what's in your shadow. And a lot of the times what's going on in the shadow is subconscious. Okay. And subconscious and conscious often do exhibit different things. Okay. So I may be talking about things here and you may be like, what? That's not how I think and that's not how I feel. Obviously, you know, consciously that may be so, but subconscious literally means hidden. You're not aware of it, okay? And a lot of the times these things can play out in our 3D when they're ready to be triggered. So this is just giving you guys a heads up of what may be around the bend. Especially like what I am picking up on twin flame energy here, you guys. There's a lot of mirroring here going on. So you may not even know that these are things that you harbor in your subconscious or things that are in your shadow until your future spouse shows up and you guys start triggering this crap out of each other. Okay? Because I have for them, okay, so we're just going to get into the reading. They are going to be jealous of the fact that you get a lot of you get a lot of attention from romantic interest, okay? That's what's gonna make them mad for whatever reason, okay? You definitely picking up on Leo, Scorpio energy here, how they're coming, you know, you may trigger possessiveness out of them. You may trigger a possessive side of them that they may not even know that they had, okay? Because there is this thing where it's more envious and like they wish they had that. Like everywhere that they go, they wish that they were able to just turn heads wherever they go, okay? So there is this energy here where there's not a lot of wand energy. There's just something about your energy that's magnetic though, where, you know, you are very attractive, or maybe it's just the energy and the way that you carry yourself. There's just something about you. It almost like you attract romantic interest to you like moth to a flame. Okay. If this isn't something that is resonating for you right now, like I said, a lot of this could start happening when you and your future spouse link up, because I am picking up on twin flame energy here. Okay, so maybe you're like, maybe you feel invisible, pile 2, right? Something though about when the two of you and your future spouse come together, activates something within each of you where all of a sudden it's like, you know, when you were wanting attention, you know, when you were wanting it, you know, you didn't get it. Something about linking up with your future spouse though, who could also be your twin flame. I am picking up heavily for a lot of you that are viewing this. Your future spouse is your twin flame, okay, vice versa. And they activate something within your energy that all of a sudden just, you're expansive. You're no longer invisible to romantic interest. People just, and it's not just romantic interest, it's everyone. There's this magnetism and this charisma that's automatically, in terms of romantic interest, people are just drawn to you, can't take their eyes off of you. And for whatever reason, your future spouse envies that. They want that. I'm not picking up on the energy that your future spouse feels like maybe that you could be taken away from them. It's not that. They want that magnetism that you have. They want to be able to walk into a room and people just be magnetically drawn to basically their beauty, their appearance, and not just their appearance, because it's not just that. Like bees to honey, they want the same thing. And they feel like, and maybe to a certain degree they may have had it, but once the two of you get together, that part is going to overshadow, and then they're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute, why, you know, what's going on here? You know, and then for them, what's gonna, I feel like your future spouse, your future spouse may overindulge in some things to a certain point. Actually, with the devil here in the reverse, it's actually the opposite of that, especially with the root chakra here. One of the things that may get on your nerves about your future spouse is how little they overindulge in things. Like what's giving me, so I feel this energy coming from your future spouse, right? They may be very well-to-do. They may have a lot of money, where they're able, if they wanted to, they could splurge on luxurious things, and they don't. They may work very, very hard, and they're more work than they are play. That may be what ruffles your feathers about them, because when it comes to work, you may see them as like, okay, you know, new business and money and wealth and riches come so easily to them, and it may not come that easily for you. I feel though with this fertility here, I do feel you may be working on that, But I feel especially, yeah, see with sacral chakra, that's the energy you're kind of coming through, which is why you have romantic interest being drawn to you. It's just this energy, this lure that you have, this magnetism. You have romantic interest literally wanting to, you know, plant their seed in you in terms of creating a family with you, basically. Whether they consciously are thinking that way or not. For some of you, I'm picking up a lot of divine feminine on this side. So, you know, for those of you who are divine feminine, who are also females that can have babies, for some reason, divine masculine males have this draw towards you and have this, you may even have experienced this, have this desire, they don't know where it comes from, to want to get you pregnant when maybe they've never had that before. There's just this weird draw to you wherein that this desire, you know, and it may not even be anything that is, what's that word, it doesn't make sense. Like, they may not be in any kind of a, you know, it could be a situationship, it could be, you know, they barely know you and they want to, you know, they want you to have their babies. It's so weird. But it's like this, you know, you have this, almost this Empress energy coming through, right? For you. Yeah, which would make a lot of sense. You have these masculines coming in who want to give you the world and they don't know why. You know, they just feel magnetized to you. And it could be very well, it could be your beauty and stuff like that, but it pretty much bypasses their logical mind. It's like, yeah, you know, pile 2 is gorgeous, pile 2 has it going on, but why in the hell am I wanting to like give pile 2 everything and even, you know, impregnate them when I don't even know who they are? You know what I mean? It's just that, it's that divine feminine energy at its finest at work there, okay? And it is very triggering to your future spouse for some reason. Yeah, it is very triggering to them for some reason. Let's see. We're going to get some advice. Advice for you, pile 2, in dealing with these struggles with your future spouse. What's the advice for pile 2? What advice do we have for pile 2? Yeah, and so for you, it's going to kind of, you know, I do feel your future spouse is very responsible with the energy that they carry. It's kind of giving me that energy, like you, and I actually just saw this. Was it a Twitter feed I saw where they were talking about there's a difference between rich people and wealthy people. You know, rich people, they like to flaunt their riches. You can tell a rich person versus a wealthy person. And the example that they gave, somebody was working for like a private jet company, right? And they were like, I could always tell who the rich people were versus who the wealthy people were. The rich people were the ones that were taking selfies, taking pictures of the plane, you know, dressing in designer threads and stuff like that. And they were like, and the wealthy people, like they're talking billionaires, right? Or at least multi-millionaires and billionaires. Walked right on the plane, didn't make a big deal out of it. Like, they've done it a million times and they probably had, right? And even, you know, the wealthy people weren't always decked out in, you know, expensive designer clothes. In fact, you know, you think about, was it Steve Jobs? And how, you know, you just tend to see a lot of these wealthy people pretty much wear the same thing, t-shirts and jeans, right? And that's kind of where I feel like your future spouse is coming from. And for you, it's like, no, you know, we have all this money. You know, you work so hard and we have all this money. Why aren't we enjoying it more? Why aren't we spending it more? Why aren't we, you know, flaunting it more almost, okay? For some of you, you want to flaunt it. You want other people, you know, I don't want to say, you know, like I said, this could be a lot of your guys' shadows coming through. There may be a part of you, pile 2, that wants other people to know that you're very well to do, okay? But like I said, this is a general reading. There's two things: general reading that may not resonate with you, and it may not also resonate with you because it has not yet been triggered out of your subconscious. Okay, so let's get advice for pile 2. We have, oh, that's funny. We had this same card come out for pile 1 in the exact same position. First card out for this side over here. Interesting. Pile 2. What advice do we have for pile 2? I'm hearing respect the journey. Respect where they're at on the journey. Interesting that we have karmic cycle and lightning here. Your advice is to understand that whatever wealth and riches and whatever, you know, easy street things are going on with your future spouse is simply because past life karma. The life that they're living now just seems to be the result of, you know, they had, you know, closing out karmic cycles. So the life that they're living now is pretty much just kind of a detriment to, you know, the good karma that they were able to rack up in previous lifetimes. And they want to share that with you. There's no need to get jealous and envious of it. It's like you have the ability to partake in it. And also what I'm hearing pile 2 is that just because they, you know, aren't wanting to utilize their wealth and riches in that way doesn't mean that they have anything against you doing it that way. You want to take more vacations? Okay. You want to wear designer clothes? Go right on ahead. You know, you want to go do a date night, you know, at some place where it's going to cost hundreds of dollars? Okay, let's go. You know, they're not opposed to doing it. It's just not their natural way of thinking. They're in a whole completely, you know, they're more wealthy minded than anything. Not to say when you meet them that they're going to be wealthy right then and there, but that's where they're headed. So just know that they think completely different than you do. Okay. And that's okay. They're not against you partaking in your guys' wealth and riches in that area. In that way, they're just not, that's just not how they're naturally wired. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I were talking to your future spouse about what ruffles their feathers about you, it's basically like, just get over it, you know? Get over it, pile 2's future spouse, and rather than be jealous of pile 2 for having this natural, you know, like pile 2 is turning heads whether you like it or not. Why be jealous and envious of them, and why don't you be proud and, you know, be part of, you know, everybody's shining their spotlight on you, right? They should be proud that you are reciprocating you are at least reciprocating, you know, their love interest, right? You guys are mutual love interest. You love them and they love you. Rather than seeing that as competition, be like, yeah, that's, you know, yeah, pile 2's got it going on and they chose me. You know what I mean? And not to be, yeah, see, like put an end to that way of thinking. It's funny that we've got boredom and single life here. Like they need to understand that, yes, you are attracting love interest as if you were single, but pile 2 knows they're not single. In fact, pile 2 doesn't want to be single. Pile 2 appreciates the attention maybe that they're getting. They feel flattered. Who wouldn't, right? But pile 2's not going anywhere. Pile 2 knows what they got, right? So there is some of that insecurity with them You know, there is a little bit of that. Like, they envy the attention that you get. They kind of want to be able to get that same attention from other love interests as well. But there also is this thing with them where they may be a little bit insecure in terms of they could possibly lose you, right? And it's like, no, they need to understand that number one, there's no need to feel insecure. In fact, it's the confidence. That's what I would remind your future spouse is, like, you know, it was your future spouse's confidence that initially attracted you, right? That's what is very attractive to you, is their self-confidence, and not to let the attention that you're getting, pile 2, rob them of that self-confidence. Like I said, the two of you linking up is going to really trigger some deeply subconscious patternings that neither one of you are probably or even aware of. Your person is actually probably going to be taken aback by how they feel about you getting all this attention. They may even ask themselves, why is this bothering me? Pile 2 has it going on. Why is it bothering me? I got it going on too. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's like you guys are going to be triggering some subconscious things about each other that you didn't even know were there. All right, you guys. All right, we're going to leave that there, pile 2. If it resonated, do me a favor. Be sure you are smashing that like button for me. Comment below. Let me know what pile you picked. Share and subscribe if you feel led to do so. I'll see you guys at your next reading. Hi, pile 3. All right, you guys, I'm not going to go into the whole intro spiel here because I already did it, okay? So if you did not watch the intro is actually part of this reading. So pause this, go back to the timestamp and watch the intro. I didn't want to record it 3 separate times, okay? Very important you guys watch the intro. It is part of this reading. Also keep in mind, you guys, this is just a general reading, so please take what resonates, leave behind anything that doesn't. If you want a private reading with me where I'm tapping into you and your future spouse's the energy of your connection exclusively, check the description box below for booking details. They're only $25. I email them to you. It's one of my most popular, hands down, one of my most popular readings across the board, and actually it's one of my favorite readings to do. All right, so you guys chose the blue onyx or the blue Caribbean calcite, same thing. All right, so we are just going to get into your reading. Communication may be an issue for you and your future spouse. Pile 3, communication. We'll get into it though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what it is about you that ruffles your future spouse's feathers. So what is it about pile 3 that ruffles their future spouse's feathers? What is it about pile 3 that ruffles their future spouse's feathers? Which I was picking up on heart chakra. Okay, so they may not understand your compassion, and your future spouse, pile 3, may have a bit of a hardened heart. And the scenario or the example that's coming to mind that I'll give you, and it's a little bit of a story time, okay, but just hang in there just so you can understand where your future spouse is coming from, or you can understand more of what this is. I used to work with this girl, and I was part of a homeless ministry, right? So we would go out to certain spots throughout the city and you know, basically minister to homeless people. But it wasn't just that, you know, we would try to, you know, provide little, you know, if it was the winter time, we would try to, you know, provide things to help kind of warm them up or whatever we could do, right? We would just minister to the homeless. And I was talking, this girl and I were talking, a girl that I used to work with, and she asked me, she'd be like, well, why do you care about homeless people? You know, they did that to themselves. you know, why are you going and spending your energy and your money and this and that, you know? Oh, because one of the things that we would do as a ministry is we would pull our money together, and, you know, we might have, you know, we'd make breakfast burritos and pass them out to people, stuff like that, you know? And she was like, well, why are you doing that? You know, they did that to themselves. So it's kind of like that energy, right? That your future spouse is kind of coming from. They don't understand why you are so, or I should say that's kind of the state of their heart. Like I had to explain to this girl, it's like, yeah, some of those people are homeless because, you know, maybe they fell into drug addiction and stuff like that. I said, but they're not happy. By no means are they happy, you know? And so I had to explain to her, it's like, yeah, they may have quote unquote done it to themselves. Some of them have, right? That doesn't mean that they're happy about it. She did not have the ability to put herself in someone else's shoes or even empathize, right? She had a very hardened heart. So I feel like that may be one of the things that your future spouse, you know, they may have a very hardened heart when it comes to having compassion for other people in difficult circumstances, okay? So I don't know, pile 3, if you are somebody that may be involved in some kind of, you know, you may be an advocate for homeless people or an advocate for people who are maybe are less fortunate, you know, and maybe an advocate for addicts or, you know, something like that. And they don't understand, you know, why you're so compassionate to people like that. And it could also just be, you know, you're a giving person. Right? Your future spouse may view you as being a doormat, a pushover. They're not understanding where you're coming from. Okay. What is going on? Let's see. What is it about pile 3's future spouse that ruffles pile 3's feathers? They may be mirroring back to you things about yourself that let me get one more card. So they're definitely acting as a mirror to you. We got peace within stillness, the answer. So there's a lot of stuff here with, interesting. I did not see this coming for them. And we're going to, of course, break it down with some tarot, okay? So we got divinity with recognize the divine in the mirror. So they're acting as a mirror for you. So it's almost like whatever it is about your future spouse that is bugging you is something that is deeply in your subconscious. It's part of your own shadow that's being reflected back to you. Okay. And then we have peace here within stillness. The answer will be revealed. And then we have embrace the balance between earth and spirit. Very interesting. I am hearing that some of this may come as whatever I'm getting ready to talk about on their side may come as a surprise to you, because consciously you may not be thinking or feeling that way. But they may be triggering some things within you. Let's just get into it. And actually I want to clear up this energy over here. So we're going to start with them first, okay? What is it about pile 3's future spouse that ruffles pile 3's feathers? What is it about them that is ruffling pile 3's feathers? Oh, whoa. I am picking up on this energy, which is really strange because it's not coming up on the board yet, that your future spouse may not have much of a filter. They just tend to say whatever on their mind without much thought about how anybody else is feeling, which is exactly the opposite of you. You're very compassionate, right? Let's find out. Let's see. What is it about them that ruffles pile 3's feathers? Let's explain. Let's go more into detail here. What is it about them that ruffles pile 3's feathers, please? You guys are very difficult. Neither one of you are really wanting to talk about it. All right, here we got, what is it about Pile? What is it about them that ruffles Pile 3's feathers? Okay. All right, this is making a little bit more sense. Okay, so for you, what's ruffling your feathers about them is they may tend to, now it's not over, you may see it as overindulging, but that's not how the energy is coming through. So your future spouse likes to indulge in things, and it may be with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse here. It may be a little bit overindulging. They may indulge to a point where if it may affect, like maybe they spend too much money. The energy isn't coming through here where they overindulge so much that it causes like issues in finances, but you may have a problem with how much money they are spending on any particular luxury, okay? In other words, maybe they have a hobby, or maybe they collect certain things and they may spend quite a bit of money on it, and that ruffles that kind of, it ruffles your feathers. You don't quite like it, as you know, but they don't overdo it to the point of where it actually becomes like they have a spending problem on it. You don't like the amount of money and or the amount of time that they spend on whatever it is they are, I'm going to say, indulging in. They're not overindulging, but they do indulge in it, right? If the Nine of Cups was in the reverse position, I would tell you it's overindulging, right? They're using it as a way to escape something, but they just, you know, they're indulging in something that brings them pleasure, that brings them a sense of fulfillment. And what I'm hearing for you is maybe you don't do that enough. So, because they're acting like a mirror. Maybe you're not doing that enough. Maybe there's something that you love to do or something that you love to collect, but you withhold yourself from being able to do that. It's funny that we have the King of Cups energy coming through here. There may be a little bit of hypocrisy coming through when it comes to what your future spouse does that ruffles your feathers, because it's like hypocrisy on their side. Because I'm seeing that whatever they are indulging in, it may have something to do, like it could be pets. Maybe they have a lot of animals, or that is something that is coming through. Something maybe horses. They indulge a lot in something that brings them emotional fulfillment, and I feel like it may involve other living things. So pets, farm animals, something. And it may be like, you know, there's kind of a hypocritical thing here going on. Like they look at you like, well, why are you, you know, helping out so-and-so? Like for instance, Pile 3, maybe you have like a friend or a family member who just seems to get into the same kind of relationships where, you know, they're constantly being taken advantage of. And you always come through for that person when they're, you know, being taken advantage of. And your future spouse is like, why? They're doing it to themselves, right? It doesn't have to be the homeless. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can just be that you're one of those friends who's always there for someone who may be, you know, putting themselves in the same dynamics. And it's like, you know, you understand, you see where they're coming from. This person that keeps putting them in that dynamic, right? You know, or you're just always there for someone who may be battling, you know, a drug addiction or something like that. And your future spouse is like, they have a hardened heart towards people like that. But then your future spouse also, spends a lot of money when it comes to, you know, maybe animals or horses or something like that. And you're like, how do you not understand where I'm coming from? You basically do the same thing. It's just, you know, it's in a different way. You have a heart for something. And that may be too what it is. It's like your future spouse may have a heart for animals, but not a heart for humans. That may be what it is. It's like they have all this compassion and all this love for animals or for, you know, whatever, but they don't have it for, you know, just for people who may be hurting or reacting out of wounds or something like that. It's not so much like it's not, yeah, that's more of what it is. I don't think you really have a problem with them maybe spending, because you know that they're not overspending. They're not spending so much it's putting them into debt. That's not it, right? They're very responsible, I feel like, with, you know, their resources and stuff like that. I think there's almost like a hypocritical, there's something hypocritical about what your future spouse, the way they see things versus how they see things. It's like, how can you have all this compassion and this heart towards animals and not towards humans, right? Because I'm hearing pile 3, you would give, you know, the shirt off of your back for pretty much anybody if you have, you know, the resources to do it. But I also feel like you are responsible enough with your resources where it's like, you know, if you don't have it to give, you're not going to give it. But, you know, if you know somebody hasn't eaten in 2 or 3 days, you know, you don't have a problem going and either cleaning out your pantry or, you know, giving of excess, or even maybe just, you know, sending them $50 worth of groceries, you know, and your future spouse would have a problem with that. Like, why aren't they doing that for themselves, right? Why are you doing that? Yeah. All right, let's see. What about pile 3 ruffles future spouse's feathers? What is it about pile 3 that ruffles future spouse's feathers? Yeah, I do feel like the two of you may have overall have a communication problem. On top of that, having a hard time really explaining or not to say that the two of you don't talk, but it's like you're not able to hear each other clearly. Yeah, see, hold on, we're getting there. Yeah, so your future spouse is not understanding where you're coming from when it comes to your want and desire to help out these other people. They largely are in this energy of they did it to themselves. Why do you care? Why are you, you know, it's almost one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe you have a friend or a family member that is deep into some kind of drug addiction, and maybe, you know, they spent more money on it than they should have, and now they're, you know, they're, I don't know, $50 short on rent or something. Who knows what it is, right? But it is, you know, it is the lack of the other person's responsibility that is causing them to not have enough, right? And, or just not something like that. I do feel I'm getting very much from you, pile 3, this, I mean, you may be involved in some kind of a ministry. Maybe that's not, or an outreach or something, right? Where, you know, you could be part of a local food pantry, or you have no problem opening up. You know, if you have the extra money, you'll give it, right? If you have the extra food, you'll give it. You have no problem with that because you realize where these people are coming from. It's like nobody likes being in the middle of an addiction. Nobody likes that. Nobody is happy not having enough money at the end of the month to pay rent. Nobody likes that, right? You're compassionate. You see where you know, your future spouse is like, you're being taken advantage of. Why are you doing that? They're not understanding. You know, that's like, you need to leave these people alone. Leave them alone. You know, they don't like the fact, they think that you're very naive. They don't understand and realize it. Like, they want you to look at things more logically. They want you to see things and feel things the way that they do, right? They think you're being very naive and not seeing things clearly. They think that other people are taking advantage of you. And I mean, it could very well be. But I don't think you're naive. That's just how they feel. That's how they're perceiving things. What they don't understand, or what they're failing to realize or even focus on, is the fact that if you don't have it, you're not going to give it, right? You're not going to put yourself in debt to help somebody else out, but you'll give of excess what you do have. You have no problem doing that. Your future spouse has a problem with that. They look down on these kinds of people. They haven't had a change of heart yet when it comes to those types of people with those kinds of problems, whatever those problems may be. But there's this disdain for people who, for whatever reason, are irresponsible with their resources. And now it's like, why are you feeding people? They're adults. They need to go feed themselves. Kind of things like that, right? And it could even be something where it's like, why are you caring about whether or not they can feed their kids? That's their responsibility, not yours. And you're kind of looking at them like, they're kids. It's not the kids' fault that they can't eat. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to help them out. If I can help them out, I'm going to help them out. We're going to get advice for how, what you can do to kind of help overcome these issues or these struggles that you and your future spouse may be having. Pile 3, you guys may actually, there may come a point in your connection with your future spouse where you may actually feel like, you may be contemplating separation. There may be actually a point in time in this connection, Pile 3, where you may feel like, is this really what I want? Is this connection, do I really want to be with somebody that is in this kind of energy? That sees because what they're doing is they're seeing your strength as a weakness. That is a strength for you to be able to look at somebody and look at their behaviors and look at them behaving in a way that's very irresponsibly, and yet understand it's like, they're not happy. They don't want to be that way. They don't want to live that way, right? The thing here, the advice that's coming through for you, Pile 3, is just understand and realize, I mean, not that you don't realize, but never lose sight of the fact that you are one of a kind. Don't let, your future spouse or anybody make you feel like your strength, this amazing compassion, this amazing ability to look past someone's behaviors, which is a direct result of their programming, right? Look past that and realize, like, they need help. They really do need help. No one likes not having enough money at the end of the month, or nobody likes being in the prison of an addiction, or no one likes being homeless. Nobody likes not knowing where their next meal is going to come from. Nobody likes that, right? And that's an enormous strength of yours. It is part of what makes you such a rare soul, on this earth right now. And it's the same, okay, so the same voice inside of you that keeps telling you that it's, I mean, it may be something that it's so second nature you don't even realize it, but you're being guided and led by basically your own divine self, divine love, right? And not to ever lose sight of that, because there is going to come a point in time where you may face this crossroads. Do I stay with my future spouse, or do I go in a different direction? You may feel torn at some point in time. And the thing is that you know the answer. You'll know what the answer is if you just allow yourself to be still long enough and really, be open to whatever the answer may be. Okay, with crystal ball, we have events taking place in the future, inner knowing, occult and esoteric knowledge, stepping into your spiritual power. If your future spouse ever gives you an ultimatum like, stop helping out so-and-so, or, I'm going to leave, it's not that you're putting that other person above, your future spouse. It's, how can I stop being who I am? I can't stop being who I am just to make you happy, and if they're not, if they're not wanting to see, they're operating out of their own, programming and ego too. And for them to tell you to stop helping out the less fortunate people, regardless of what the reasoning is why they're in the position that they're in. As long as it's not hurting you and putting you in debt, and it's not hurting them and putting them in debt, why would they care? Don't tell me who I should be and who I shouldn't be. I was made this way for a reason, right? You'll know what to do, basically, is what the advice is. You'll know what to do. If you come to that crossroads, you'll know what to do. Oh my God, one more. Yeah, and so with the advice for your future spouse, basically, is they just need to chill. They need to learn to be a lot more flexible and to stop being so rigid and only seeing things one way, right? They're kind of in this King of Swords energy. They just want to look at things through the lens of, ego, pride and ego, logic and reasoning, and that's not how love operates. Very narrow-minded. Learning how to ease up, right? Ease up on the judgment and the criticism and go more with the flow. This is also here with between worlds, though. See, so they're needing to learn how to see things from both sides. How to actually be more compassionate, right? And also realize, like, there's an agreement here. That's kind of interesting. With contracts here, it talks about agreements between both sides. There's almost like this mutual agreement between you and the people that, you help out. Like, I do feel they need to realize that you do set boundaries. Like, the people that you help do understand and realize you're not going to give to your detriment. You'll give what you have. Right? Like, your future spouse needs to understand that you have set up boundaries. You give of your abundance. And that's your abundance. That is yours to do with what you want. It's your abundance. So if you want to give it away, it's, that's your right. That's almost like what you were sent here to do. But with this here, like between worlds, this is kind of giving me a heads up to let you know, pile 3. I feel like they're kind of in the middle of transitioning out of being completely ego, pride, I feel like something may happen that can humble your future spouse to where they're going to understand. Oh, that's where they were coming from. That's where pile 3 was coming from, right? It may have something to do with the birth of, I feel like something's going to happen to them where they're going to get a very realistic dose of their own medicine. Somebody they care for may fall into tough times because of some decisions they made. Maybe there's some kids involved, and your future spouse has an emotional tie to this child. It could be like a niece or a nephew or something like that. And they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go drop off food and diapers and stuff like that, not for them but for the baby. Then they're going to be like, oh, now they understand, right? It took having a personal experience for them to understand where you were coming from. And that's just kind of a heads up and a nods to you, pile 3, that the judgments and the criticisms your future spouse may be coming from, they're going to be reaping karma for that. Okay? So that they're going to be humbled. They're going to be able to see things your way, not to, you know, and for you to not really try and waste any time explaining your side of things for them. They're not going to understand until they experienced it for themselves. Okay, you guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave that here. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please do me a favor. Make sure you're smashing that like button for me. Comment below. Let me know what pile you picked. Let me know what you thought of the reading. Share and subscribe if you feel led to do so. I'll see you guys at your next video. Bye.